Alright, picking up where we left off, about halfway through the first act, and I realized since I did a test character in Solo Self-Found, I actually had accumulated some things here. What I'm going to do here is just move this tab out of the way. I'm going to put a fresh tab here with nothing in it, and I'm going to take the currency that I accumulated the first time and get rid of it so I don't accidentally spend it at a vendor buying something that I wouldn't have normally been able to afford in this run through. So just move it onto my inventory here. And I'm being careful not to combine any stacks of the existing currency even. Right. Give me a couple minutes to move everything over. And then we'll resume our walkthrough here. This will also give me a chance to show you what our loot filter is doing for us. As I mentioned in the getting started portion, we're using filter blades regular. There's that divine I very luckily picked up my first playthrough. Can't really expect that kind of luck, but you never know. That is the beauty of Path of Exile. You just never know. You keep rolling the dice and sometimes you get lucky. I'm gonna even turn my stash tab affinity off, so currency will no longer automatically support here. I'm just gonna even move it out of the way. So I'm just using the default tab, just like you'd have if you new to the game, you hadn't spent a single dollar buying MTX or tabs or anything. That's all I'm going to play with in this run through. So we'll throw this down on the ground over here. Like I said, you'll get to see what the loot filter is doing for us. I dropped that whatever that thing's called, scroll fragment, and it has so little value that the loot filter will just filter it out so we don't even see it on the ground. Not a distraction for us. Scrolls of Wisdom, Oral Scrolls. And because some of these items are stacked, the loot filter will give them a little higher priority in the filter than if they were just single items. But because regular is pretty loose, it's going to show you just about everything. Not going to be that different. Alright, so that's our sort of ordinary currency and what it all looks like in the loot filter. I'll just give myself a little bit of space, and here's my Chaos Orbs and Divine. Let's just hear that again. It's so satisfying. If you happen to drop a Divine, that loot filter just makes it even more dramatic and enjoyable. So one thing you'll notice is on the mini-map here, you'll see that these items are also highlighted, so it'll give you a little clue, even if you didn't hear the drop sound, or there wasn't one, or you're busy a crowd of monsters, something like that. You can see that it highlights in different ways the different items, so it's really easy to identify, well, hey, a red star on your mini-map, that's probably something important. In fact, it's this Divine Orb. Alright, so let me just reorganize my stash here again, and we'll get started with our game. Now generally it's not good just to stand around in the zones because you never know when something's going to come after you and take you out, so it's usually better to be in a safe place. But we're just at the very beginning of Act 1 here on our character, so it's not too dangerous. Now where we left off, we had found 3 blue link on the vendor, which is a really nice way to start. You're not always going to get that, but somewhere in Act 1 usually you'll find one. And here I have Rolling Magma linked to Arcane Surge, which gives us a little more spell damage and a little more mana regen. And we have the Summon Phantasms, which summon minions as we're killing monsters and they fight for us. They fire a physical projectile spell and they kind of harass the monsters and keep monsters from targeting you quite as much. So it's not only offensive, but it's also got a defensive capacity. Got Frostblink, which is our movement skill. Mainly just gets us out of danger, and it also does a lot of damage, so we can actually kill monsters with it. Over here we have a minion damage gem, which isn't linked to anything, so it's not doing anything for us right now. We're just leveling it. And we have our flame wall, which makes our magma orb more powerful, and it also makes our minion projectile attacks more powerful. And one thing that we can do that would be a noticeable improvement is to move this Arcane Surge to the link with Frostblink. So as long as we're triggering Arcane Surge with a skill, that mana regen and the spell damage will be applied to us. You can see that orbiting effect to let us know that Arcane Surge is active. And so instead we can link our minion damage to our magma orb and phantasms. And the minion damage doesn't help our magma orb at all, or rolling magma, but it will give more damage to the minions, and we're still going to have Arcane Surge because we're going to be using Frostblink fairly often. So this is actually a slightly better configuration for our gems at this point. Alright, I go abandon this currency. Pretty sad to see leaving a divine on the divine orb on the ground, but whatever. So we're headed over to the prison, and let's just check back on our guide here. Make sure we're remembering all the things we want to do. We're in Act 1. We've got rolling magma, Arcane Surge, summon phantasms. We switched out the minion damage because we got kind of lucky with our fourth blue socket, and we could link it to Frostblink. Normally we'd do that in the next act. We're going to be collecting some gems that we'll be using later. Minion damage, although we found a way to use it now, which is cool. We'll get these others as we progress a little further. And we're here in the prison, and so there's one special room here that we'll be able to get some flasks from. And let's see what else. There's also a trial of Ascendancy that we're going to want to find. So those are the two things we're doing here in the prison. So those are items you don't want to miss. So you never know exactly which way things are going to be, so basically just pick a direction and find out. Alright, dead end. Okay, so that's our exit. Wrong way. Those necromancers can be a little bit tough sometimes, and they'll keep respawning their own minions, these skeletons, if you don't kill them. So better to focus on the necromancers if you can. Alright, finds from the chest. But people don't bother with chests. There's nothing special about chests in their loot, but at the beginning of the game and you don't have anything, take what we can get.
Fate smiles.
You also see that those necromancers have energy shield, so if you don't keep damaging them, they'll regenerate that energy shield, and then you'll be fighting them again and again and again. Alright, so here we are at our Trial of Ascendancy. And you've got these spike traps which are going to come out of the floor. And the goal is basically time your run through them so that they don't affect you. If they do hit you, they can cause bleeding, which is a damage over time effect. That's not great for us because right now we don't have any way to stop a bleed. So here we are stuck. I'm just gonna wait. I didn't get a bleed, so I'm okay. Get out of there. Alright. I use my life blast to survive. They give you some monsters along the way, not to challenge you so much as to give you a chance to recharge your flasks. When I get to the end here, I always click the trial marker as quickly as possible. So in case these monsters do get us, we'll have achieved our goal. Alright, a couple more left. You really don't need to fight them if you don't want to, and there's a necromancer here reviving them. Alright, head out. Back in the regular prison area. Alright, so now we're just looking for the exits. Here's a rare necromancer, so could be particularly tough, we'll see. Keep the damage on him to prevent him from regenerating his energy shield. And there's really no reason to fight it, other than you're just enjoying the game, and rares do tend to drop better loot, so I fight them as long as my character's not struggling too much with them. It's not the most efficient thing to do, but yeah, I don't care. Okay, great. So we have the door here, but we also have an essence down here. Basically always going to go for strong boxes and essences to pick up any extra loot that we can find. Oh, interesting. 2 blues, 1 green. Not that helpful. You triple click the essence to open it up. It's basically going to be a rare monster with some usually pretty difficult mods. Later on, essences can have many unpleasant mods on them. Very dangerous. Earlier in the game, usually they're not too bad. Sometimes you'll face them and they'll be a little too much to deal with. Just abandon the fight. It's too much. Alright, getting more minion damage and duration. That's all good. Let's see what we got in our inventory here. Got a pair of boots. 2 wisdoms. I think I'm going to preserve at least 1 wisdom so we can buy things in town. So here's a large life flask with an affix. Removes all burning when used. Okay. Great. Still want to we want to identify these when we get a chance to, but I'm going to save that scroll of wisdom just in case we need it. Medium life. Really what we'd like to find here is a spirit shield, which potentially will have minion mods on it that'll be helpful. And shields in general are a great defensive option, especially for a character like this. We'll keep checking the vendors, check the drops that we find. Mostly what I'm looking for is gear that has links that will be useful to me either now or in the future. Okay, look at that. Another Quicksilver flask. That's excellent. Some people like to use more than one Quicksilver flask. I stick with one, and I put the others into my boots to upgrade them. Alright, so you can see I've got this chest, strongbox, somehow behind the wall. And there's a switch here on the column that will open it. Alright, so it's already magic. If it were not magic or rare, we could actually use currency on strongbox to roll it. So you can upgrade it, you have a better chance of getting items in it. And I'll waste my scroll of wisdom here just to show you. You can actually unidentify it and see what mods there are. So this magic mod gives it additional items, and it's going to detonate nearby corpses. So you have to be careful of that. Corpse detonation is one of the most dangerous effects in the game. So I'm going to click the strongbox and I'm going to get out of the way. Bunch of necromancers. Also, you should consider if you upgrade the strongbox. Ooh, look at that. We're pundits of Quicksilver flasks here now. That's pretty funny. I haven't had that happen before. Alright, one's magic, so it's going to have a special affix on it. Alright, we're going to unveil these when we get a few more scrolls of wisdom going. Alright, you really don't have to fight everything. It's up to you. Sometimes you're just like, got a bunch of good stuff, my character's in a good place, I just want to move on to the next area. If you're struggling at certain points, it's usually just better to deal with it, struggle, and eventually move on further into the campaign. And you have access to better items, more gems, more tools to solve problems, more currency, more of everything. Just makes it easier to solve problems. Really early in the game, when you got kind of nothing, you don't have that many options. Alright, eventually we'll find the exit here. All kinds of necromancers here. Mash your flasks periodically. Alright, here's a blue necro. Okay. Nice. Alright, there's our exit. And the layouts of these zones are randomized, but there's also still a kind of order to them. So you'll see...
Ignorance brought you here, sister. To the one place where your
You'll see some common versions of the zones as you gain more familiarity with them. None of the zones are really that big that you can't just wander around and find what you need. There's a couple where if you know the sort of idea or trick of the layout, it definitely makes it easier. Alright, got our enduring bonds, that's nice. And I'm doing that here because we're about to face a boss. This boss has some kind of nasty attacks. Generally you want to kite it as much as you can. It's got a move that will grab you and pull you to him. So you gotta just be prepared for that and move away. around here somewhere.
Your frightened heart echoes from these stones.
I need more mana.
Let me embrace you.
Oh, got me. Alright, try that again. If you're playing through for the first time, I encourage you to engage with the lore and listen to the NPCs. It's I think it's got a good mood to it. It's maybe not a great story, but it's got a good.
Sleepers, your sentence is death. Let me embrace you. Come.
Had you been my creation, brute, you'd not have fallen so easily.
All right, moving on. I head back to town since I filled up my inventory and I want to sell these items. Ooh. Now we'll go back to town. Alright, let's see if they got anything for me. What do we want here? Skeletons, alright. Sell our items here. Let's see. Already got movement speed boots, so let's see what this looks like. Some resistances. Reflect is useless. Intelligence is not helpful for our character, but it's better than nothing. So we're gonna swap these out here. I'm gonna close my sales window. Alright, it's not a good item, but oh, we already have a shield. I said we were gonna look for a shield, but we already have one. Sell that. The heck with those. Coral ring, better than the mana ring, so we'll do that. Need to be able to unveil that.
Farewell.
See if she's got something for me. Wands. We don't need a wand right now.
Be
Okay.
well.
See if he's got
Welcome.
any armor. Might be interesting. Boots. Alright, a slightly better shield than what we have, probably, but it's not really a meaningful upgrade. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Oh, we've got these, all these Quicksilver flasks. So we have an orb of augmentation. What do we need? Our boots and a Quicksilver flask. So if I sell these, it will give me a pair of boots with higher level of movement speed. So right now, they are 10% increased movement speed, and they'll become 15% movement speed. Considering I have all these extra Quicksilver flasks, it's fine to do. The only consideration here is, though, that it needs level 12 to be able to equip these. So right now I am level 11, nearly there. So I wouldn't be able to put them on, but fortunately I saved my old boots. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade these. My old boots on. Great, and now I could always keep upgrading these with my Quicksilvers as long as I have an orb of augmentation, which drop very frequently, so that's no problem. Now that we have skeletons, we're gonna go to our weapon swap with X, or you can use these tabs up here. That's gonna start leveling our summon skeletons gem. I'm not gonna be using it, but we're gonna corrupt it later and hopefully get Val summon skeletons, which is incredibly useful. We're going to want to buy more of these, but right now we don't really have that much currency, so we're going to wait on that. Eventually we're going to buy 5 or 6 skeletons and be leveling them all in our offhand and then use them. I don't even have gloves. Let's just take a quick look again. Nothing. No, here we go. Yeah, I don't know. Not even worth it. We'll find something else. Alright, so we are here at Prisoner's Gate. Just finished the prison. And what we want to do is to just skirt the perimeter of this zone. Not get killed by these goat men. It can be pretty annoying. See if we can get this one. And see that he's going after my phantasms there instead of me. It's that sort of defensive aspect. Well, we don't have any gloves, so I'll pick those up. We're looking for this side route here. Right. Sapphire ring's good. Got some resist on it. Gems there since we got a little pause in the action. Guys leave burning ground, which is pretty dangerous, so I want to be careful with that. Alright. Amber amulet, which is not give us strength, I believe, which isn't that needed in this build. Work our way through. You can see these guys are hitting me pretty hard. I haven't invested anything at all in life in this character, which is why this fighting's a little risky. If I would have taken that life and mana node at the beginning instead of going for my minion damage, I'd be a little more comfortable.
The sirens appear to be dining well.
Alright, in this zone, when we get here, we want to find this waypoint as soon as possible. Sometimes it's right by the exit, other times you're going to have to search for it a little bit. This is a pretty big zone, so we really want to have that. Alright, there's a part of a quest we're going to complete here.
Ready and not before.
Alright, so we're looking for our quest in this area. See, my minions are starting to become somewhat helpful here in combat. Not needed. Just got that ring's got mana on it, which isn't that helpful. Now, what I do here, looting while we're still fighting, not really advisable. Sometimes you feel like you can get away with it. Alright, so this is the exit of the zone. I don't want to leave yet. I need to find my quest. Because it rewards a skill point, I believe. And anyways, gaining some more levels. My goal is to basically over level compared to someone who's playing with maximum efficiency. Just makes it easier. Takes a little more time to go through the campaign, but oops, I clicked on the league mechanic. You can see it's a pretty big zone. Blue pack, always good. If you're new to the game, it can be hard to know like what's worth picking up in the game, but our loot filter does a pretty good job of informing us of relative value of items. Doesn't mean it's always going to be helpful for your character. There's our door. But in general, it could be a good item. Alright, so I picked up this chest, 4 blue sockets, but it's white. It doesn't have any mods. And here's an example where this essence is perfect. It's going to upgrade it to a rare, and since it's a body armor, it's going to give it cold resistance. Cold resistance is you know, somewhat useful. We do need resistances. And here we get increased energy shield, and reflects physical damage. That's not terribly useful, but it's not nothing. 45 energy shield's okay. So it's better than my generic piece of junk plate armor there. Chain armor. I'm gonna upgrade this to a rare also. Other jewelry, so belt is considered to be jewelry. It's going to increase cold damage, which is completely useless to me. I have lapis, this is +2 intelligence, of no use to me. Urge lights flask, upgrade our flask. I'm gonna put these gloves on because I don't have any. Have a sapphire ring, which will give us cold resistance, and there we got mana regen on it. Okay. Strength, we don't need strength. Let's upgrade this and see what we get. Flask recovery rate's okay. Tiny bit of regen, basically useless. 3 armor is basically useless. But we get a little bit of energy shield, so it's okay. Probably not a great use of an essence, but oh yeah, these are skill points here. At this point, gonna not die here. We want to take some life and mana at this point because we're feeling a little squishy. We got 2 points, so we're just gonna do it. All right.
When I'm ready, and not before.
So in this one, you just have to explore around until you find the boss. The boss has an item at its feet that you need. Not even bothering with the flame wall at this point because I feel like it's something more difficult. You actually don't have to kill anything in here at all if you don't want to. You can just run past the monsters, you can run past the boss, you can pick up the item, you can leave. What's the fun in that? After you play the campaign 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 times. See, I could just leave if I wanted to, but I'm gonna stop here and fight the boss. Alright, you gained a level. Now we're going to exit out to where Fairgraves is, just part of the quest. We're safe here for a moment, so I'm going to give my minions some accuracy.
Friend stuck my
Alright.
That is a gentleman of honor.
Going to spawn in some bobs here, and
Hard times call for hard times. Sure, were the circumstances will kill this.
and then we got the boss. Alright, rare boots, we'll take them. At this point, just go straight back to town and get your reward since it's a skill point, which is pretty nice. The waypoint's always not right next door, so that's not always an option. It's up to you. Just talk to all of our people here. There's our skill point. We leveled up, so we can take a look at items here. I'm doing pretty good on links at this point. We got a little bit of currency, so that's all good. Let's see. Yeah, we got these rare boots. Let's see what they look like. No movement speed, useless. Alright, we're level 14 now, so we can put on our faster boots. Okay.
Farewell.
Not a big boost, but it's something. Alright, she doesn't have anything interesting. Here's a place where you can upgrade your flasks if you've fallen behind. Definitely having the best flasks. Oh, sealing. We definitely want that. So you can see this says grants immunity to bleeding. Huge. We always need a bleed flask as soon as we can get one. So this is worth spending some currency on. 3 transmutes is quite a bit for early game, but that is totally worth it. Okay, flasks are upgraded, just throwing away the junk one. And there is the beauty of checking the vendors every time. You never know. Small chance of getting something, but
Take care.
you roll the dice enough, eventually you get something. Got a skill point now. Alright, so I got my health and mana over here. I was feeling squishy, so I decided to take that now. If I was still feeling strong, I could have just ignored that and kept on going. We're going to head down on the left side of the tree. You have access to more life and mana regen here. Again, if you're feeling squishy, you can take that first. It'll just delay you getting to some of the minion damage, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. Later in the game, when you start dropping gems or jewels, you've got a jewel socket that's very easy to access here. Just 2 points. So if you find a good one, and it's got to be a good one, it's not worth socketing a junky, useless gem, obviously. Spend 2 skill points and you get no real benefit. But jewels can be incredibly powerful in this game, so we have access to that. We're going to come down. We've got access to some more damage. A great life node here, again, if you're feeling squishy. We're going to come up to this minion life, to this attack and cast speed. These are really good nodes. And then further off and to the left. We'll take a look at that when we get there. Okay. And we revealed most of this zone, so we just need to run through it. Here's where having your movement speed, movement skill, and some movement flasks are nice. Quicksilvers. And that carries us through the zone really rapidly. Alright. I love the atmosphere of this game. I think the art direction in this game has just been consistently amazing for this whole time. Back in the early days, the character selection screen was on a ship, and once in a while someone will post a video of that original character selection screen, and it's just like, it's so memorable. It just really stays in your mind. It's got an incredible nostalgia value for those of us who've been playing for a long time. The game just has a lot of character. And it's so consistent too. Some game devs make a game and it's got some good features, good qualities. How often do they actually follow up and continue to improve it? I don't think it happens that often. Alright, so there's nothing to do in that zone other than, oh, watch out, there's these guys that explode on you, which are pretty dangerous. Probably if I hadn't taken that life node at this point, that would have just killed me. So, if you're a good player, you're staying highly alert. You know, you can avoid this damage. You can play with, you know, virtually no health at all. But that's not me. I take chances, I just run into mobs, I don't take my time fighting, you know, I'm aggressive. And that does not always pay off. But anyway, it's fun for me. Dying is really, especially during the campaign, is just not a big deal. Alright, here we are in a boss fight. There are ways you can prepare better for this fight, getting cold resistance, for example, but I don't find it to be that necessary. Not to say she won't kill me, but it's not that hard of a fight. You're playing like hardcore mode or something where you can't die, well, you would not just want to come into this fight unprepared.
I need more mana.
Yeah, once I start running out of flasks, usually it's not a good sign for me. Alright. First form, it's down. It's good. This form is not as dangerous, except for your resources are more depleted. And she's got some area attacks here that you have to be aware of. Yeah, I'm not doing too good. So now, at this point, you can just continue the fight and hope you get lucky. Or just die. Or you could just use a portal scroll, go back to town, refill your flasks and health, and basically reset your old character. I never do that, though. I want to win, I don't want to die, but I don't want to, you know, cheat, basically. There's one fight where I do cheat. That's later on in the game.
When I'm ready and not before.
But there's only one. All the rest. There we go.
Barely recognize. Poor fishwife.
One death.
It was love that did this to you.
Alright, let's get our point here.
It's nice to see there's
I'm
still
gonna
some
just
life in this twitching
go
corpse
with
of a continent.
rushing damage rather than anything else. Do we have any items here? We already have large or better. Okay. So this zone, you pretty much just want to go up. This is the transition between Act 1 and Act 2. We've got some things to do once we get to town here. Back in Act 1. And then we'll take a break before we begin Act 2. Alright, so I'm just going to immediately go back to Act 1 now.
Damn.
Sure. Haven't missed any quest rewards. Okay. Let's see, I think we have flesh offering. Yeah, flesh offering. Okay. Take care of that in a minute. But we'll just go back to our guide for a second here. A couple of things that we might want to get. There's a vitality gem, which gives you life regen. You have to reserve it as an aura, and it, and especially at the beginning, consumes quite a bit of mana. So you may or may not want to use it. There's a clear upside and a clear downside to it. You could also buy a steel skin, which we don't really use because it's another button press, and it's semi-helpful, but it's kind of reactive, and there's a better way of using it later in the game. We can, if we're poor, which we are now, we can wait till later to buy it. We want to buy our Absolution, which is going to be our main skill that we're going to be using to the rest of the leveling. And we're going to buy one of those, and then we're going to buy as many skeletons as we can. And we're going to level skeletons in our offhand weapons. We're not going to be using skeletons, and we're going to corrupt this later on to turn it into a Val summon skeletons, which is a tremendous boost to the character. That's not going to happen for several acts unless we get incredibly lucky along the way. But it's sort of setting up for the future. So right now we're kind of broke, so I'm going to buy my Absolution because that's required, and then I'm going to see what I have left over for skeletons. Alright, so we're going to go to the second tab here on Nessa. Here's our vitality. This one transmute, and you can see it gives you life to regen. You have to reserve mana to use this as an aura, and we don't have a lot of mana, and we cast a lot of spells, so it becomes a little bit of an annoyance. And right now we don't even have enough strength to use this gem, so it's good to have, but it's optional. We also have clarity here, which I didn't mention in the guide because it's usually not necessary. You can buy this and use this to regenerate mana, but it also reserves mana, so you have less mana reserved to, dump, but it will help you regenerate mana more quickly. So it's a balance of whether or not this will be helpful to your character or not, so just so you're aware. If you do choose to use clarity, I'd recommend that you not level the gem because it will start reserving more and more mana, I believe, and that's gonna be problematic for you at this early stage. Alright, let's find our Absolution here, down here. It's a required gem because it's our main skill. And then we want to find skeletons. Alright, ran out of transmutes right now. So We can't buy any right now. We have one already that we got from the quest reward. Let's go ahead and sell our rare item here. Maybe we'll get enough. Let's see. Yeah, we got one transmute there. So we'll have to come back and get some more skeletons as we gain some more currency. Alright, I'm going to put this skeleton into our offhand. X on the keyboard for me to switch. We want to put our flesh offering just somewhere in our blue sockets. And we have no red sockets right now, so we can't even socket our absolution. That's something we're going to have to find, is some armor that has at least one red socket and hopefully the rest blue. Eventually in this, we're going to work our way to a 4-link. A 3-link is good enough to start. I'm going to go back here to Act 2. And then we'll take a break till the next video. Just going to talk to my stash here so that it remembers what act I'm in. Okay, see you in the next video.